Welcome to the SDG Warriors podcast. In today's episode, we'll be in conversation with the dynamic duo Jenallee, Ms. Jeni Long and Ms. Sallee Clark, who are international speakers, EdTech consultants, bloggers, and authors. They currently serve as Instructional Technologists with Eagle Mountain-Saginaw ISD. The dynamic duo, known as Genially, is passionate about technology integration and making learning accessible and fun for all. Ms. Jeni has served in education for 23 years as a 6th grade math teacher, 7 to 12 ELA Curriculum Specialist, Technology Integration Specialist, and also a Science Curriculum Specialist. And Ms. Sallee has served in education for 16 years as a pre-kindergarten teacher, elementary librarian, K-12 District Librarian, and Instructional Technologist. Ms. Jeni and Ms. Sallee together co-host a YouTube show called The Jenallee Show. Their blog and YouTube show highlight the newest EdTech tools and offer tech tutorials for teachers and educators across the globe. Between the two of them, they have over 40 years in education and they have presented at BETT, TCEA, FETC, ISTE, and various other local conferences. They are both MIE Experts, Minecraft trainers, Ed to the Max consultants, as well as ambassadors for Wakelet, Buncee, Genially, Adobe, and Flipgrid. In addition, Jenallee has published articles with tech and learning, and they recently released their first book titled The Microsoft Teams Playbook. It is an honor to have you on our show, Jenallee.
Thank you so much for having us. It is a pleasure.
Before we get started with the exciting conversation, to help our audience audibly visualize the whole experience, can you please tell us where are you right now, what is the weather like outside, and what can you see from your window right now?
Well, it is actually beautiful today. We are in Fort Worth, Texas, in the United States. And we have had so much rain for the past month, I think, and we finally are seeing the sunshine. So I see my dog sleeping on my bed and sunshine outside.
It is very sunny. Yeah, it's very sunny. In fact, my car says that it is 86 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So it's a warm day here in Texas and it's beautiful and we're so ready to go outside and enjoy it.
Wow, that's great to hear. Back here in Bangalore, it is a beautiful breezy weather, and outside my window, I can see the metro station and a metro train which is gearing up to go for the next destination. So, let's begin with the questions. Well, generally, what does a typical day in the life of Miss Jeni Long and Miss Sallee Clark look like?
Oh, goodness. Well, right now we are on summer break. So we are doing a little more relaxing, maybe laying by the pool, doing some workouts on our Peloton bike, just trying to enjoy our family. But Sallee, you want to tell what a typical day looks like when we are actually at work?
Sure. I don't know that there ever really is a typical day because we do work with 27 different schools in our district. So we have 21,000 students in our area that we serve and 27 schools. And every day is a new day for us. So if a teacher needs something at one campus, we go there and we help them. If a teacher needs something on another campus, we'll go there and help them. A lot of times we are planning with teachers and looking at their lessons coming up and the technology that would best help their students excel or learn something new or connect in a new way. And then we teach the teachers how to use that technology with that lesson and with the students. Sometimes we even get to go in and work with the students in the classroom and co-teach the lesson with the teachers, which I think is our favorite because we love getting to be with awesome kiddos like you.
Wow, that's great to hear. 26 schools, 21,000 students, that's incredible. And each day must be so unique. So your job as an instructional technologist, back here in India, we do not have instructional technologists in schools. So what exactly do you do and how does it impact students?
Well, we are very fortunate that we get to have the position that we have because we do get the best of both worlds. We love teaching and training. We love being with students and we do love being with adults. So we feel very fortunate to have our position. And we know that even here, some school districts don't have our position as well. And we just enjoy being able to see students learn. We love seeing the excitement on their faces, and the same for adults. This summer, in regards to your question about what we are doing in a typical day, even this summer, we are holding a lot of trainings for teachers, and we are leading webinars and speaking at different conferences. So even that, we get to see adults learning and getting excited about something new. So it's very fulfilling.
Well, teaching a diverse set of learners, children and adults, that must be so amazing as you get to experience the best of both the worlds, hence making learning more better for students and teachers as well. Well, what is one common misconception about your professions that you would want to debunk?
Well, I think a lot of times people think of us when they think of our position in technology, they think we can fix everything. So we get a lot of calls for, can you fix my printer? Can you fix my board? Can you hook something up? And that's not really, we can sometimes, but that's not what that's not really what we're supposed to do in our job.
We really want to make sure that teachers understand that we're there to help them. And really with the learning aspects of their classroom. So looking at their curriculum and digging in and finding new ways that help students think at a higher level with their lessons while incorporating technology.
Absolutely. The focus is always on learning and helping students to learn better. So technology can get quite complicated. How do you make technology accessible and equitable to meet the needs of your students?
Well, Jeni and I learned pretty quick in this job that it's easy to get overwhelmed with technology because it can be very difficult or it can be very tedious. And one thing that we always say to our teachers is take one app and own it. Learn that one app all the way, completely understand it, know all of the buttons, all the bells and whistles, and use it in your classroom every day. Teach your students where they are in a routine and they know exactly how to use it. Then once you feel comfortable with one app, then you can add another. So we always just try to keep it as simple as possible. Even when we are presenting, we want to make sure that we give people information in bite-sized chunks that they can take and understand, which I don't know if you guys have TikTok where you are, but we love TikTok. And the main reason we like it is that we can create videos in 1 minute, and that seems to be a little more manageable and understandable than a 20-minute video on how to do something.
Well, mastering one app at a time. Back here in India, TikTok is banned currently, but we do have Instagram Reels, so perhaps we can integrate that into education.
Oh, that's perfect. Great idea.
So how can students have the best learning in a short amount of time using the power of technology?
Well, I think making sure that technology is accessible to them and that they have access to learn in a variety of different ways. And that's one thing that we try to make sure that we share. There's always more than one way to do something. So showing students that it's not really about the way we learn as adults, but really kind of getting down on the students level and making sure that we're connecting your world to your learning.
And forming those connections using technology for learning must be the same focus, like you mentioned earlier. Whether you're mastering only one app or you're mastering 10 apps, the main focus should always be on the learning and to make students learn better, have mastery in the concepts. So we wanted to know that how do you simplify cutting-edge technology into bite-sized pieces for your diverse audience?
I think it's very important, like Salleé mentioned too, to take things one at a time. So a lot of times technology comes at us like a fire hose, just pouring out new things and new ways to do things. So I think it's important to just not feel overwhelmed and just, if this is the one thing you want to learn it well. And I think it's also important for us in our role to communicate in a variety of ways. So some people like to learn through a video. Some people like to learn, with a document. Some people like shorter videos. Some people like longer videos. But being able to use a variety of modes of communication and delivery, I think is important also.
And I think in the classroom, as a teacher, routine is really important. So making sure that, I use the app over and over and over again in the classroom, where students know the routine, they come in, they know exactly how to log in, they know exactly how to operate the application. That makes the learning process a lot easier.
I'll say we have found too that a lot of times it takes at least 3 times for people to be exposed to something for it to sink in. So I think just because we say, we showed you that before, we taught you that, doesn't mean that it necessarily sticks or that a student or an adult understands that concept. It might take a few times of repetition for it to finally sink in. So we are constantly repeating ourselves and delivering that training multiple times.
Yes, slowing down and focusing on the present and presenting content in a variety of ways for the audience, because they're so very diverse. Likewise, it is the same for the students as well. We take at least 3 times to understand the same concepts, and then when we have to showcase our knowledge in the examinations, that is where true learning comes into play. Well, Jenallee, can you tell us something about your upcoming book and what can students look out for in the book?
Well, we are so excited about our book, and it is actually going to be focusing on Microsoft Teams as a learning platform. And we're going to be sharing some of the experiences that we've had over the past year with COVID and remote learning, and how to use Teams with partner apps. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be Teams. If you're a Google Classroom, you can utilize apps like Buncee and Wakelet and Flipgrid and all of the things that we love. There will be lots of lessons and ideas for teachers and students to be able to learn from and use in their classroom.
And as you were speaking about diverse learners, one of the things we really focus on is equaling the playing field for all of our students. So looking at our diversity within our classrooms and using technology and leveraging technology to equal that playing field in different areas, like access to content, like culture, and making sure that we're utilizing technology to help all of our students learn.
Equity comes into play over here, and choosing apps according to the comfort level, whether Microsoft or Google. That's something that we all will be looking for in your book. Well, generally, at the end of the day, what is the one skill you want to equip all your learners with, and why?
Oh goodness, there are so many, but for me, I think that I would love to instill a lifelong love for learning in students. Like, I, as an adult, love learning. I mean, Salleé and I are nerds. We just sit and learn and go through TikTok, but not, we learn from TikTok. We sit on Twitter and just learn. We get on Facebook and we watch YouTube videos, but we read books. I want to instill that in my children, to love learning and to love passing on that learning to others. So it's not just about getting, but it's also about passing that on and teaching others as well. So the learning and the teaching.
And for me, I think helping them learn empathy and loving all people. So looking at people's situations, empathizing with them and understanding where they're coming from, and then finding ways to connect with them, I think is a very important skill within our society and within our world.
Right. Teaching is the highest form of learning, and you just taught us that we all must be lifelong learners. Even for students, the best learning takes place when you love to learn, you enjoy the process, and you get to connect with the process. And that can be empowered with forming human connections like Ms. Sallee mentioned right now. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Well, now we are going to move on to some fun questions. So are you ready?
We're ready.
Yes.
So we would like to know, what is the story behind Jenallee, and how did you become best friends forever?
Oh, that's a great question. We love our story. Actually, Salleé and I started working together 5 years ago. It feels like forever because it really was a match made in heaven. We truly were kindred spirits, and I'm going to cry. From the day we met, we just knew it was we just instantly had so many connections and commonalities. And so a coworker of ours was kind of joking, and we would like to mush our names together and kind of combine names. So he said Jeni and Sallee, Jenallee. And so we said, we like that. And so we just we love, like we said, teaching and sharing, and we started a YouTube show where we were interviewing teachers and sharing tutorials. So we started the Jenallee Show on YouTube, and then from there it's just grown into so many things. And we have a working relationship and we have a best friend relationship, and we really truly do complete each other in our strengths.
I think, like Jeni was mentioning, the strengths was really important. We actually did a strengths survey as a team at work, and Jeni and I found, I mean, we already knew we worked well together and we were good friends, like instantly. But when we did the strengths survey, we saw we both had strengths that complemented each other. So Jeni is really strong at arranging things. She's a wooer. That means she instantly connects with people. She also is really good. Jeni, what were your other ones? Positivity. She's always happy and always looking at the positive side of things.
Communication.
Oh yes, communication. She's really good at communicating and making sure that everybody's on the same page. And then what was your fifth one? Do you remember? You had one more.
Yeah, I can't remember.
You keep thinking. Okay. Mine was connections. So I make connections with people. Also ideas. So I come up with a bunch of different ideas. I also have empathy, positivity, and I'm strategic. So the two of us together completely complement each other and naturally work well together.
Those are great qualities to hear, and wow, it is truly a match made in heaven. You're making this podcast into a show where we get to know that you are actually role models for all of us students to emulate for friendship. So we would like to know that how does Jenallee define friendship, and what is the recipe behind a good friendship?
Ooh, these are great questions.
Yes, you're just like making my day. I love this.
I think it's really understanding, like Salleé said, and I kind of compare it, we joke, we kind of compare it to our marriage too. It's like in a marriage and in a friendship, I think you have to have that give and take, and you have to know what the strengths are of each individual so that you can work better together. Because if you're both too strong, sometimes that, you can butt heads. But if you have that give and take, and like Salleé and I did have that for a little while, and then it's like we both let go of the things that we knew weren't our strengths. And so Salleé lets me do the things that I can excel in, and I let her do the things that she is really good in. And so then we know and we trust each other. And I think trust is so important as well, knowing that other person has your back and they're going to fulfill their responsibility in the relationship.
I think it's also putting the other person above yourself. And so knowing that I know Jeni is working hard, and I know that her intentions are good. And then I always seek to make sure that when I'm thinking about her or doing something within our relationship or within the day, that I'm putting her above myself. Because that's what we do for each other, is constantly help each other and constantly lift each other up.
Respect and putting other before yourself, humility and trust are the main pillars for having a good friendship. But like you mentioned, that sometimes when both the people in the friendship are really strong, it can lead to conflict. So often friends have difference of opinions, which may result in small conflicts. So how do you resolve that and avoid such situations, and what keeps the duo together?
Ooh, I think honesty is also important too. There are times when we might have we can feel some friction between each other, but we both don't really like conflict. So I think that is hard. But I think Salleé and I have really grown to be honest with each other. And if, something is bothering her, she will tell me, and I'm not going to be offended. If I need to be honest with her, I'll go ahead and, let her know my feelings in a way that we are still supportive of each other and showing that love and respect.
And I think it's really important to go and talk to your friend before it just bubbles up and you can't, take it anymore and you just explode or get mad. So instead of just getting mad, go and talk to the person. Because like Jeni said, when you're honest with them and you lovingly share your heart and your feelings, usually good resolutions come out of that.
Absolutely. Honesty is another pillar that must be there for an excellent friendship and to avoid conflicts. Thank you so much for sharing that with our audience today. We wanted to know that in school, which was your favorite subject and why did you like it?
Well, Salleé knows what mine is right away. I love math. I actually was a math teacher for quite a while. I taught middle school, maybe 10 to 12-year-olds with math. And so I love numbers. I love the solutions and coming up with different ways to solve things. And so I am a math nerd, and that makes me happy. And my son actually really, really loves math as well. So I'm really excited to see where he goes in his future with math. And
I don't know that I have a favorite subject, but I have a favorite way to learn. Will that suffice to answer? I hope. I love it doesn't matter what the subject is. If I have the ability to create a project or be creative or take it in a different way, I will love it. So it doesn't matter what the subject is. If I can do something fun and creative with it, then I'm all about learning it.
Wow, finding that creative subject. So you are a duo which supports logic and creativity at the same time, and that's really amazing to hear. We wanted to know that who or what have been your biggest inspirations in life?
Definitely my mom. My mom is an educator, and watching her and being in her classroom as a young child and seeing how she pours her heart and soul into her students is just unbelievable. She follows them up through adulthood and still builds those lasting relationships with them. So that really has inspired me to really, foster those friendships and those lifelong relationships with people, and just to give into others. So that she's definitely my biggest role model.
And this is no surprise, my mom is also my biggest role model. She also was an educator and a principal, and just watching her hard work and her love and her care for her students inspired me at a young age. I can even remember I said I will never be a teacher because I saw how much she worked, and going to college, I ran from it and I went into business. And then my senior year of college, I came home and started subbing for her at her campus. And I fell in love with it and was like, I have to be here. This is where I'm supposed to be. So she definitely gave me that spark. And I love seeing how she cared for everyone around her, her students and her teachers.
Wow, that's so inspiring to hear. Moms are truly superheroes. And even for explorers who have been on our podcast, their moms also inspire them. So that's a connection that I can see right now. Well, we wanted to know what words of inspiration were given to you that you would want to pass along to the others.
I think, and I've kind of mentioned it, is just have a love for learning and a lifelong love for learning, and to love all people. Just love learning, love people, and spread good in the world. That is just my advice to all. Just be kind.
And mine is encourage each other today while it's still today. I even have it hanging in our office because I just think it's super important to, like we were mentioning earlier, having empathy for one another and encouraging each other on and spurring each other on in good works and in kindness.
Be kind to each other, empathize, and complete each other, whoever you meet. Well, as we move on to the last question of our podcast, the most important one, as children, what can we do to make the world a better place?
That's a really, really good question and a hard question. I have to think about it for a second. What can you do to make the world a better place? I kind of think it goes back to our answers that we've been saying, which is be a lifelong learner and share that knowledge with everyone. That's one thing that Jeni and I are constantly doing, is seeking after learning, and then we seek to share it with people. Because it's great that we learn, but we also want to pass that knowledge on so that others can learn and become better as well.
And just that we've mentioned is just to love each other. We live in a world where there's just so much hatred and so much negativity. And I think if we can just smile and just spread love to each other and accept each other's differences, but still embrace who we are as individuals, and just try to be kind. Again, just be kind and love each other.
Well, that was truly inspiring to hear. Be kind to others, be passionate towards what you do. Go ahead and share the learning that you have. Use your learning to take action and be the change right now at the moment. Well, an amazing duo working passionately to share their learning with the world. Friendship based on respect. Thank you so much for coming to the SDG Warriors podcast, and it was truly an honor to speak to both of you.